It's holiday season, so what a best time to build ourselves a multi-protocol, easy to manage, network attached storage to host family videos, pictures, and build some VMs on. We'll be virtualizing TrueNas for this purpose. Let's go. Okay guys, just a reminder, this is the overall network that we are trying to build, and in my previous videos I've covered this in details, and I've already created Pi-hole, I've already installed pfSense, and today we are going to set up TrueNas network and we will install TrueNas in a VM. So before we do anything, we have to create the network. So go to pfSense and go to interfaces, assignments, and then go to VLANs and click add, and make sure you select the right interface. I'm creating all my VLANs on the LAN network, so I click that, and then you double check the VLAN tag. So in my case that's VLAN 20, so go back there. That's VLAN 20. Priority, we leave it as is. Description, that's my TrueNas network, and click save. Once you do that, you go back to interfaces, assignments, and in the drop down you will see the network being created. I've already done that, so that's why it's showing as here, but it will show it here. So that's done. And then once you do that, make sure you change the IPv4 configuration type to static IPv4. Give it a description, so I changed it to TrueNas, and then this will be the gateway address 192.168.20.1 because that's my network 20.0/24, and the first address will be my gateway address. Untick these boxes, click save, and then you click on services, DHCP server, and you will see TrueNas here. So you click that, make sure you enable the DHCP, and then give it a range. This network will not have more than maybe 2 or 3 machines, so I just gave it between 100 to 120. I also set up my DNS server, so this is my Pi-hole address, so I set that here and nothing else, and then you click save. And once that's done, you just enable it by going to rules, TrueNas, and these are the ones that I set up. So the first one is TrueNas service ports. So any client on this network should not be able to open TrueNas using these ports, and also they should not be able to open this firewall on these ports as well. The Pi-hole is only allowed for its DNS queries, so that's why I'm just opening up port 53, and anything else is allowed, so allow everything else. So once you set up your pfSense side of things, now you can proceed to install TrueNas as normal. The first thing what we need to do is we need to go to truenas.com and we click on get TrueNas. There are 2 versions. One is TrueNas Core and the other one is TrueNas Scale. I've been using TrueNas Core, which is based off of FreeBSD, and TrueNas Scale is based on Linux. It's super stable on TrueNas Core. I've been using it for the last 10 years or so, so I'm gonna be using this. So click on that, and if you scroll down, no thank you, I have already signed up, and it gives you the download link. You can right click, copy link, go to Proxmox, download from URL, paste it there, get URL, and it picks up. I also make sure that I get the checksum as well. So double click, copy, come back here, that was SHA-256, paste it and click download. So it will start downloading. I will get back to you once it's downloaded. Right, so it's finished downloading. Now what we are going to do is close that, and we are ready to create VM. So click create VM. That's TrueNas, start a boot. I wish to start it as soon as pfSense has booted up and Pi-hole has booted up. So that's number 3. So click next, select TrueNas ISO, next. We will leave all default here. Next, I am going to put it on my supersonic drive. So the minimum requirement for hard disk is, I think it's 16 GB. So I leave it as 32 GB just because for future expansion. I'm gonna tick this box called discard because I am using an enterprise NVMe. And I am also gonna tick this box which says SSD emulation. Cache will leave it as is, and we click next. Cores, so I have 2 sockets, so I'm gonna assign both because I want it to be powerful. And I have 8 cores, so 16 threads total. I am going to enable NUMA, and I usually for TrueNas I also select host as well and click next. I don't like ballooning my TrueNas VM installation because I want dedicated RAM supply to my TrueNas VM. And initially I am going to assign 32 GB. Click next. I am going to put it on my pfSense LAN, and that's VLAN 20. I'm going to untick firewall. VirtIO is fine, and click next. I don't want to start it just now because I want to pass my PCI SAS 3008 Broadcom controllers so that TrueNas can see the drives attached to those. So just click finish and it will create the VM. Okay, so it's created that. So click that. Click on hardware, and we are going to pass my LSI controllers. This one at number 6 SAS 3008 PCI Express Fusion MPT SAS 3 controller. So once that, I'm going to untick ROM bar, add, and I'm going to pass my second one because I've got 2 in the server there at number 43. Untick ROM bar, click add. Okay, you just click console and click start to begin the installation. Okay, we will begin the installation, so enter. And the first one is my Chemo disk that I passed on, 32 GB, and the other ones are for my TrueNas pools, so we'll leave it as is. Just checking all my drives been passed successfully, which I can see they have. Select OK and enter. Proceed with the installation. Yes, please. Set up a password. This is the root password. Boot via BIOS. Enter. And the installation has begun. Okay, so installation completed. So press enter. We are going to shut down the system and go back to hardware and unmount your CD-ROM. Okay, and come back to console, click start again. And there you have it. TrueNas has been booted up and it's available on this address 192.168.20.100. So if we go there, enter, show details, yes, visit this website. So you enter your username and password. And that's my TrueNas GUI. So the first thing I usually do is I go to accounts, click users, and add a user. So I'm gonna say Fahad email, gonna choose a password. I leave the user ID as default. I'm gonna make a new primary group, auxiliary group. I want to be part of the wheel group. I want to give everything access, and I am also gonna click Microsoft account and click submit. And once that's created, I also try and add the user proxmox as well, password, and leave the user ID as is. Make a group as well. For the group, it can write. I am also gonna take Microsoft account and click submit. So now we are ready to create our pools. So I'm going to show you both. I have existing pools. So I'll first show you how to import the existing pools, and then we will create one brand new pool. So click storage, pools, add. Let's import my first pool. So click next. Yes, they don't need decryption. So next. And these are my two pools. So I have SSD underscore fast 10 and tank underscore fast 10. So I'm gonna import this one first and click next and click import. Okay, so that pool has been imported. And these are my existing data sets on there as well. And it's online, 78% used. I know I need to keep it below 80%. And if you click on status, these are 4 drives in striped mirror. And I've also added my spare SSD that I had in the server as a log device to speed up the writes. Now let's import the second one. And looks like that was a success as well. So click that, status, all online. So now I want to click on pools, auto trim. That was important because I just wanted to double check that it was selected, because these are SSDs and I also want to enable the auto trim capability on it. This pool was made of SAS3 drives, so these are not SSDs. The other thing I usually do is I want my system dataset pool to be on my SSDs instead of the tank fast 10. So you can change that, which I think you could do that by going to system dataset, and you change it to fast, SSD fast, and save. That's saved. Go back to storage, pools, and it's showing system dataset pool here. So great. Now let's create a new pool. So click add, click create new pool. So I have these 7 SAS3 drives of 1.6 terabyte each. And in my previous video, I discussed how I was gonna lay out my pool. But then I also turned to TrueNas community to say, how would you lay out 7 drives in a RAID Z pool? A majority of the experts were saying use RAID Z2. If, for example, I had 2 VDAVs, I could simply upgrade them easily. But if I want to upgrade my RAID Z2 pool, I need to have all 7 drives. Otherwise, it will not see the upgraded capacity. So I am actually going to go with these experts' advice. So I am going to do RAID Z2. So select that, all of them, put that in there. I'm gonna name it Colossus. I am not gonna enable encryption. And so let's ask TrueNas what it suggests. Suggest layout. It's showing stripe. I think that is not correct, because in stripe I should have more capacity. So I think that is a bug. So if I select that, it's already selected RAID Z2. That's what I want. So I select that. Now it changed, and the capacity remains at 8.18 terabyte or TB bytes. And I'm gonna click create. Yep, that's fine. Create pool. Okay, so that's created. Let's have a look at the status. Yeah, that's a RAID Z2 pool, and all my disks are online. Good. So let's click on dashboard. I'm gonna give you a quick overview of my newly created pool and its drives and its VDAVs. So it has 1 VDAV. So if you click on this small arrow, it will show you all the drives in the VDAV, and you can see all of them are online. And if you need more information about a drive, you click on that, and then it will open up all the disk information about that drive, the serial number, and hopefully you have labeled all your drives in your server by their serial numbers, and all the other information is here. Now let's start the configuration. So if we click on system general, there are 2 settings I usually set here. One is HTTP to HTTPS redirect, this one, and the other one is changing my time zone. So that's Europe, London. And let's untick this as well because I don't want to send my data to IX systems. And the others are okay. And then click save. Okay, confirm it. And settings are saved. Next, we're gonna set up NTP servers. Oh, it logged me out. So log back in. NTP servers, so these are the default ones. I don't really use them. So I also have set up my pfSense as NTP service provider. So that should override these. But we can also try and find NTP servers near to me in Europe, London. For that, we will have to go to a website, and that's ntppool.org. And on that website, click Europe, and then find London in it, or United Kingdom there. And these should be the NTP pools we should be using. So I'm just going to copy first one, go back to TrueNas, click edit, and then replace it with the copied link, and then click save. Go back to that website, copy the second one, go back to TrueNas, click on triple dots, edit, and replace it there, and click save. Okay, so that didn't work. So go back there, copy the other one, come back, replace it with the other one, save, and that worked. So that's fine. Let's copy the third one as well. TrueNas, triple dots, edit, and then replace it with the third one and save. Okay, so next, boot environments, nothing to change here. Advanced, here we are going to enable show console messages in the GUI, and nothing else here, and click save. Now you can see the console messages appear at the bottom. Next, email, and I am going to do that off screen. Okay, reporting, and the first option, report CPU usage in %. Next, tunables. Now these are the system tunables that came with installation, but I'm going to do something very controversial here. So if I go back to advanced and enable this option, auto tune, it comes with a warning. If you're experiencing any hardware problems, this is not the fix. So if any of the TrueNas experts watching this, please leave a comment below and let me know what you think. So I'm going to save this. Once you do that, and now if I go back to tunables, you can see that script actually auto-generated all these auto tunes by looking at my system configurations and along with the values, and it tells you who created this tunable. So I've been using this for years. I have no problems, but please do let me know what you think. Okay, so next we are going to set up some tasks. So if I scroll up, S.M.A.R.T tests. This is very important for your hard drive, so I want all my disks to be S.M.A.R.T tested. So I'm going to set up two. One is long and one is short, with a short description, what's this about. So let's type that. And the long one I wish to set up weekly, midnight every Sunday, and then click submit. Now let's set up the other one, all disks, short, a small description, and that is going to be daily at, let's say, 1 a.m. and it shows you when it's gonna run next. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday at 1 a.m. Done, and submit. So they are set up. Okay, so next we are going to set up scrub tasks, and TrueNas have already set them up. It's every Sunday about midnight, and we are going to edit that because I don't like all of my scrub tasks to be starting at once. So let's change that. So click there, custom, and instead of midnight, let's change it to 2 in the morning. And also let's change the day as well. So instead of Sunday, let's do that Friday. Done, and save. Next, let's change the second one's date and time as well. So click there, custom, 2 in the morning, and Saturday instead of Sunday. Done, save. Now because I've already changed the other two, I'll leave the third one as is, because the third pool will scrub on a different day already, so that's fine. Now let's start some essential services that we need. The first one we're gonna do is SSH. So start that, make sure it runs automatically, edit that, and I'm gonna tick this checkbox. Security wise it's not safe, but it is a closed network. I don't really mind, and it's a home lab, but I want to be able to log in as root, so click save. The next one is NFS, automatically start, edit, and here I try and bind my ports so that when I reboot my TrueNas box, it automatically picks up the same ports, because these ports I have to open in pfSense firewall, and these ports will be used by the clients connected to NFS service, so we need to make sure we set them up. So let's do that. So I'm gonna set these 3 ports that I previously used in my setup, so let's do that. And I don't think there is anything else I have to change here. Now the other thing you have to be mindful of is the number of servers, and this should be the equal of number of threads or CPUs you've passed through. So I've passed 16, so that's fine. Save. Okay, now if you can open up a shell and run a command, it will tell you the number of threads you have on your system. So let me copy and paste that here and paste, and these are exactly the number of servers my NFS service have set up. And while we are here, we can also double check the ports we set up for NFS. So this is RCP command -p, and yes, these are the ports I set up for NFS services, and 1112049 are the NFS ports, and you also need the other ports for NFS to function properly, so you can double check here as well. Now let's go back to services and set up our Samba shares. So look for SMB service, toggle that, make sure you also start it automatically, and there are other options we could put in here. And if you click advanced options, I've seen people putting options here, but I usually don't do that, so we are just going to click save. Now whilst it's going off, let's open up NFS ports on pfSense, and DMZ is one of my networks, and there are a couple of ports I've already opened for NFS, so 111 and 2049. So I have to edit the other 2 ports, so we can double check the ports. Go back to shell RCP info -p will tell you which ports we have to open. So I have to open both TCP and UDP. So these are the 2 ports that I have to open. So go back to pfSense and let's copy that. So duplicate it. So pass, everything else stay the same. So I have to just change the ports. And change the description as well for what that port is about. So that's for Unlock Manager. Go back and change that there. Okay, save it and apply changes. Now let's do the second one. So duplicate that, change the ports, double check which ports do we need. Go back and change those ports here. And change the description. Save, apply changes. So that's pfSense side of things I've sorted up. We have opened all the ports that are required for NFS mounts, and make sure you open up for the right VLANs, and these were the 4 ports that we had to open. Now let's go back to storage, and I have my new pool that is Colossus we made, and it has over 7 terabyte free. And on my other pools I have about 78% already used, and these are the data sets inside. So I think I should transfer some of these data sets to the Colossus pool, and for that we can use tasks and then replication tasks. So that one, and then click add and click on there. So the source is on this system, it's on my tank fast 10, and let's pick up an example data set, and I tend to take recursive. So now let's set up the destination. If you have a different system, you can use this option. I've used it in the past and it works perfectly fine, but in our example we are going to use the destination to be on the same system. So select the new pool, Colossus, name it as the source dataset, and click next. We are going to run it only once, untick that. I don't want to make it a read only, and just start replication, and it will start the replication task from source to destination dataset. So in this case from tank fast 10 to Colossus, and the same name I provided, and you can see it's already running. And you can check the progress by clicking here, and you can see that the replication task has been started, and here is the overall progress. And once it's finished, I can delete the source dataset from my tank_fast10 pool, which is at 78%, and ZFS doesn't like the pool to be at 80% or above. So we have to make sure that the pools are running below 80%. So that's how I set up my TrueNas. So let's go back and conclude the video now. And that's how you virtualize TrueNas. Next, we'll be building a media management VM using Docker and Portainer. And we'll be creating some datasets in TrueNas and import them in Proxmox for backups, uploading ISOs, and of course, creating some VM zone. Stay tuned.